Have you ever felt like no one truly understands what you're going through? Maybe you've faced rejection, financial struggles, or even the crushing weight of failure, hoping someone would step in to help. But no one did. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us have experienced moments where the world seems indifferent to our pain. I remember a time when I hit rock bottom. I was working tirelessly, hoping for recognition that never came. It felt like no one cared about my effort or struggles, and honestly, they didn't. That harsh truth stung, but it also pushed me to a powerful realization. The only person who can change my situation is me. That's what this video is all about. You'll discover how the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy can empower you to take ownership of your life, embrace hard work, and build resilience in the face of life's indifference. This isn't about blaming others or circumstances. It's about reclaiming your power. Stay with me, because the steps we'll discuss today could completely transform how you approach challenges. If you know someone struggling to find their path or stuck waiting for external validation, share this video with them. And don't forget to leave a comment about your own experiences or strategies that worked for you. Your insights could inspire someone else to take the first step toward real change. Let's dive in. 1. The cold, hard truth. Self-reliance is key. Life is rarely fair. You might pour your heart into a project, work tirelessly to meet expectations, or endure hardships that leave you feeling invisible. Yet the truth is, nobody cares about your struggles as much as you do. This can sound harsh, even cruel, but it's the reality we live in. The world moves on whether you succeed or fail, and waiting for someone to step in and rescue you only delays your growth. Too often, people fall into the trap of expecting sympathy or external validation to motivate them. You might hear yourself thinking, if only they noticed my effort, I'd feel encouraged to keep going. Or worse, why doesn't anyone help me? These thoughts, while natural, lead to inaction. They create a mindset of dependency, where progress stalls because you're focused on what others are or aren't doing for you. The consequences of this are significant. Time slips away while you wait. Opportunities pass unnoticed. The habits of blaming circumstances or seeking comfort from others strengthen. Over time, this creates a cycle of frustration, resentment, and ultimately stagnation. The more you depend on others for validation, the less capable you become of taking charge of your own life. But here's the truth no one tells you. The key to breaking free is self-reliance. Shifting your focus inward on what you can control puts the power back in your hands. It's not about shutting others out or becoming indifferent to support. It's about realizing that your actions, not the world's reactions, determine your progress. Stoic philosophy emphasizes this mindset. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His words remind us that peace and strength come from focusing on what's within our control, our thoughts, choices, and actions. When you take full ownership of your life, the world's indifference no longer matters. You are free to act, unburdened by expectations or resentment. I once knew someone who embodied this truth. He was a family man with a struggling small business. For years, he hoped his close friends or relatives would step in to support him financially or offer guidance. When they didn't, he grew bitter. He blamed their lack of help for his setbacks and fell into a cycle of self-pity and procrastination. The turning point came when he realized something powerful. No one was coming to save him. If he wanted his business to thrive, he needed to stop waiting and start acting. And so he did. Instead of seeking sympathy, he educated himself on business management. He learned to market his services more effectively and sought clients independently. His relationships with those around him improved because he stopped resenting them for not meeting his unspoken expectations. Over time, his business grew steadily, and with it, his sense of accomplishment. This wasn't just a lesson in entrepreneurship, it was a transformation in mindset. By embracing self-reliance, he reclaimed his agency and rebuilt his confidence. His story is a testament to the idea that waiting for others only delays what you're capable of achieving on your own. Now, imagine yourself in his shoes. Perhaps you've been stuck in a similar cycle, expecting others to acknowledge your efforts or waiting for life to hand you an opportunity. What would happen if you shifted that energy towards solving the problem yourself? Picture what you could achieve if you let go of resentment and focused on your own actions instead. In line with Stoic teachings, this approach isn't about isolation, it's about empowerment. When you take responsibility for your life, you become stronger, not because the world changes, but because you change. Your mindset shifts from dependency to determination. Here's how you can start. First, identify one area in your life where you feel stuck. Maybe it's your career, relationships, or personal goals. Write down what you can do today, not tomorrow when helps you, but today, to move closer to a solution. Next, reflect on the things you've been waiting for others to provide and ask yourself, why am I waiting? Finally, commit to a daily practice of action, no matter how small. The Stoics teach us that we can't control the actions or opinions of others, but we can control how we respond to the world. Self-reliance isn't just about survival, it's about thriving in the face of challenges. Every time you choose to act rather than wait, you strengthen the foundation of your success. The truth is, nobody cares as much about your life as you do. But that's not a disadvantage, it's an opportunity. You have the power to take control, embrace resilience, and carve out the life you want, regardless of external recognition or support. That power is already yours. It's time to use it. 2. Taking ownership, responsibility, and results. We often find ourselves trapped in the habit of blaming circumstances, people, or even fate when things go wrong. It's natural to feel frustrated when plans fail or setbacks occur. You might say, if only my boss appreciated my work, I'd be further ahead, or I'm stuck because of the economy. These thoughts might offer temporary comfort, but they create a false narrative. They tell you that the power to change lies outside of yourself, which is far from true. The problem with this mindset is its corrosive effect. When you blame external forces, you surrender control over your life. Excuses pile up, procrastination takes hold, and accountability vanishes. Over time, these patterns lead to stagnation. You stay stuck in the same place, recycling frustrations instead of building progress. Worse, this approach chips away at your confidence because deep down, you know the truth. Your life's outcomes are shaped by your actions, not your excuses. Responsibility, while daunting, is also liberating. The moment you stop pointing fingers and start taking ownership, you reclaim control. You begin to see setbacks not as unfair burdens, but as opportunities to adapt and grow. The power to change becomes yours again. This shift isn't easy, but it's the foundation for meaningful progress. Epictetus captured this idea perfectly. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In the Stoic view, every situation, no matter how difficult, presents a choice. You can either dwell on what went wrong or focus on what you can do next. Responsibility isn't about blame, it's about agency. It's the recognition that while you can't control everything, you can always control how you respond. I recall a friend who once struggled to escape a job he despised. Every day he vented about his boss, his coworkers, and the lack of opportunities. He believed he was stuck because of external circumstances. But the truth was, he avoided taking action out of fear. He feared rejection, failure, and uncertainty. One day, after a particularly tough conversation, he decided to change. Instead of blaming others, he focused on what he could do. He started upgrading his skills, networking, and applying for jobs. The process wasn't immediate or easy, but within a year, he found a new role that reignited his passion. What changed wasn't his circumstances, it was his mindset. When he stopped blaming the world and started taking ownership of his situation, he unlocked the path to progress. His story reminds us that transformation begins with accountability. Now imagine yourself in a similar situation. Perhaps you feel stuck in a job, a relationship, or a personal rut. Maybe you've blamed others or circumstances, thinking, if only things were different, I'd be happier. But what if you turned that thought around? Instead of focusing on what's wrong, ask yourself, what can I do differently? What steps can you take today, however small, to move forward? Stoicism provides a practical framework for this shift. It teaches that external events don't control us. Our responses do. When you take responsibility, you stop being a passive participant in your life and start leading it. This approach doesn't mean ignoring systemic challenges or pretending life is fair. It means focusing your energy where it counts, on actions you can take. Begin by identifying one area where you felt powerless. Write down the external factors you've been blaming and the steps you can take to reclaim control. For instance, if you're unhappy with your career, consider what skills you could develop or connections you could build. If a relationship feels unfulfilling, reflect on how you could communicate more openly or set better boundaries. Taking ownership isn't about instant results. It's a daily practice of accountability, reflection, and effort. Over time, it transforms the way you approach challenges. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This quote is a call to action, a reminder that instead of debating what should or shouldn't be, the Stoic path is about doing. It's about choosing responsibility over excuses, action over inaction. No one else can carry your burdens for you. But that's not a disadvantage, it's an opportunity. Responsibility isn't just a weight, it's a source of strength. When you own your actions, you own your results. Every day you have a choice. You can let circumstances dictate your life, or you can take the reins and steer toward the future you want. The path won't always be smooth, but it will be yours, shaped by your decisions and efforts. And in that, there is immense power and peace. 3. The grind, embracing hard work and discipline. Success doesn't happen overnight, yet many people wish it did. There's a persistent belief that talent, luck, or connections will pave the way to greatness without effort. It's an illusion that traps countless individuals into waiting for the perfect opportunity while avoiding the grind. The hard truth is that real success is built through relentless effort and discipline. Too often, people dream big but avoid the necessary steps to reach their goals. You might hear someone say, "I'll start working on this when I feel ready," or "I just need more motivation to get started." These are comforting lies. They give the illusion of progress while delaying action. Instead of tackling challenges head-on, people get stuck in cycles of procrastination and planning without execution. The result is predictable: stagnation. Without consistent action, goals remain dreams and time continues to slip away. Worse, this inaction fosters frustration and self-doubt. The more you put off the grind, the harder it feels to start. Eventually, the gap between where you are and where you want to be grows so wide that it seems impossible to cross. This mindset is disconnected from reality. Success doesn't come from waiting for the perfect conditions. It's a product of consistent, incremental progress. Small steps, repeated daily, build the foundation for significant achievements. The grind isn't glamorous, but it's the only path to lasting success. Stoicism embraces this principle. Seneca once wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." To the Stoics, preparation is a daily practice. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it, and committing to the process, not just the outcome. Hard work and discipline are not just virtues, they are necessities for growth. I knew someone who embodied this perfectly. He wanted to learn a new skill, coding, to transition into a better-paying career. At first, he felt overwhelmed by the complexity of the task. He convinced himself he needed the right course, the right mentor, or the right time to begin. Months went by, and he made no progress. Finally, he decided to focus on just one small task every day, writing 10 lines of code. It didn't seem like much, but he stuck with it. Weeks turned into months, and what started as 10 lines grew into fully functional projects. His consistency paid off. Within a year, he landed a job in tech. It wasn't luck or sudden genius that got him there. It was the grind, the daily, disciplined effort to improve, no matter how small the step. Now imagine yourself in a similar position. Perhaps you've set a goal, losing weight, starting a business, or mastering a new skill, but find yourself stuck in the planning phase. You might think, "I'll start when I have more time," or "I need to feel more inspired." But inspiration doesn't create results. Action does. What if you committed to just one small step each day? Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, you could start right now with what you have. You don't need to be great to begin, but you need to begin to become great. The Stoic approach to the grind is about focusing on the process, not the results. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to do what needs to be done without overthinking the rewards. Discipline comes from embracing the work itself, knowing that each step, no matter how small, contributes to a larger goal. To put this into practice, start with a clear and achievable plan. Break your goal into manageable tasks and commit to completing at least one every day. Track your progress, not to compare yourself to others, but to measure your consistency. Celebrate small victories along the way. They are proof that you're moving forward. And remember, the grind is not about perfection. Some days will be harder than others. The key is to keep showing up, even when it's uncomfortable. The Stoics understood that discipline isn't natural. It's cultivated. By repeatedly choosing action over excuses, you build resilience and strength. The grind doesn't promise immediate rewards, but it guarantees growth. With every small step, you become more capable, more confident, and closer to your goals. This journey is not easy, but it's worth every ounce of effort. Nobody cares if you're tired, uninspired, or unsure. But that's okay, because you care. When you embrace hard work and discipline, you reclaim your agency. You stop waiting for things to happen and start making them happen. Life rewards persistence. The grind might feel thankless at the moment, but over time, it transforms you. The results may come slowly, but they will come, one disciplined day at a time. 4. Conquering your inner demons. Excuses, procrastination, and comfort zones. Excuses are seductive. They whisper, "You're too tired," or "You'll start tomorrow." Procrastination follows, promising that waiting will make the task easier. And before long, you find yourself retreating into the safety of your comfort zone, avoiding the discomfort of growth. These inner demons, excuses, procrastination, and comfort zones, might seem harmless at first, but they rob you of progress, leaving behind only regret and stagnation. We've all been there. You set a goal, but find reasons to delay. You say, "I'll wait until I have more time," or "I need to feel motivated first." This behavior feels justified in the moment, but it creates a cycle of inaction. Each delay makes the task seem bigger, the effort more daunting. Over time, the habit of postponing becomes a pattern, and you stay stuck in the same place. The consequences are profound. Goals that once inspired you start to feel impossible. You lose confidence in your ability to achieve them. The comfort zone, which feels secure, becomes a prison that limits your potential. And worst of all, you start to believe the lie that your circumstances, not your choices, are to blame for your lack of progress. But here's the truth. These demons only have power if you let them. Growth and progress lie just beyond the edge of your comfort zone, and excuses are nothing more than barriers you create to avoid the discomfort of change. Procrastination doesn't protect you, it traps you. Stoicism teaches us to confront these challenges head-on. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This isn't about seeking humiliation, it's about embracing the discomfort that comes with growth. True progress requires stepping into uncertainty and resisting the pull of convenience. A friend of mine faced this struggle when he decided to run a marathon. He wasn't an athlete, and the idea of running 26.2 miles seemed impossible. Every morning he told himself, "I'll start training tomorrow." Tomorrow turned into next week, and then next month. His goals seemed to drift further away. One day, he realized he was waiting for a feeling that might never come. He stopped focusing on the daunting end goal and started with a single step, literally. He laced up his shoes and ran for 5 minutes. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Over time, 5 minutes turned into 10, then 20, then miles. By race day, he was ready, not because of a sudden burst of motivation, but because he chose action over excuses every day. What if you were in his position? Imagine a goal you've put off, telling yourself you'll start when the timing is right. What if you stopped waiting for the perfect moment and began today? It doesn't have to be a giant leap, just a small step forward. The Stoics remind us that improvement is a daily practice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible." This perspective shifts the focus from perfection to persistence. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about consistently doing what matters. To conquer excuses and procrastination, start by identifying one task you've been avoiding. Break it down into the smallest possible action and commit to doing it today. If you've been meaning to write, start with a single sentence. If you want to exercise, commit to 5 minutes. The key is to act, no matter how small the step. Next, acknowledge the discomfort that comes with leaving your comfort zone. It's natural to feel resistance, but that resistance is a sign you're growing. Instead of avoiding it, lean into it. Remind yourself that every step outside your comfort zone expands what you're capable of achieving. The comfort zone may feel safe, but it's a deceptive safety. True fulfillment lies in the challenges you face, the risks you take, and the actions you choose. Procrastination and excuses might offer temporary relief, but they lead to long-term regret. When you confront these inner demons, you reclaim your power. You stop being a passive participant in your life and start directing it. The world doesn't wait for you to feel ready, but you don't need to wait either. Take action now, even if it's imperfect. The path to growth is rarely easy, but it's always worth it. Every small action you take builds momentum, and with each step, the excuses lose their power. Procrastination fades and the comfort zone becomes a distant memory. You realize that the only thing standing between you and your goals is the decision to begin, and that decision is yours to make today. 5. The power of mindset, relentless focus and motivation. Everything begins and ends with your mindset. It's the invisible force behind every action, decision, and habit. Yet too often, people underestimate its power. They allow distractions, doubts, and fleeting emotions to dictate their focus. When challenges arise, they lose motivation and retreat into frustration or apathy. But your mindset is what determines whether you persevere or give up. The common behavior is familiar. You start a project full of enthusiasm, but as soon as obstacles appear, your motivation fades. You think, maybe this isn't for me, or I'll never succeed like others do. Instead of adapting, you let discouragement take control. Over time, this pattern erodes your confidence and weakens your ability to stay focused. The result is a cycle of unfinished goals. Each failure reinforces the belief that you're incapable, making it harder to try again. What's worse is that this mindset blinds you to opportunities. You become so consumed by what's going wrong that you miss the possibilities right in front of you. This reaction stems from a misunderstanding of motivation. Motivation isn't something that comes and goes. It's something you create. Your focus and determination don't depend on feeling inspired. They grow from consistent effort, even on days when you don't feel like trying. Stoicism offers a way to reframe this struggle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." His words remind us that our thoughts shape our reality. When you control your mindset, external challenges lose their power to derail you. Instead, they become fuel for growth. A colleague of mine struggled with this during a major career setback. He was passed over for a promotion he had worked years to achieve. At first, he let bitterness consume him. He thought, why bother giving my best if it's not appreciated? But then he chose a different approach. He shifted his focus away from what he couldn't control, the decision of his supervisors, and toward what he could, improving himself. He is committed to learning new skills, building stronger relationships at work, and delivering consistent results. His mindset became his greatest strength. Within a year, he was not only promoted but also recognized for his leadership and resilience. Now imagine yourself in his shoes. Have you ever let disappointment distract you from your goals? Think about a time when you gave up too soon because the challenge seemed too big. What if, instead of focusing on the setback, you concentrated on what you could do next? The Stoic approach to motivation is practical. It teaches you to focus on the present moment and the task at hand. Epictetus emphasized this idea, saying, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This means shifting your energy away from outcomes you can't control and toward actions that move you forward. To strengthen your mindset, start by identifying your distractions. Whether it's social media, negative self-talk, or comparing yourself to others, recognize what pulls your attention away from your goals. Once you know the source, take steps to minimize its impact. For example, set specific times to check your phone or write down affirmations to counter negative thoughts. Next, build a habit of gratitude. It might sound simple, but taking time each day to appreciate what you have shifted your perspective. Gratitude trains your mind to focus on progress instead of problems. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every morning. It could be as small as a good cup of coffee or as significant as a supportive friend. Finally, embrace the idea that setbacks are part of the process. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow stronger. When you encounter obstacles, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? By reframing challenges as lessons, you build resilience and keep moving forward. Your mindset is the foundation of everything you do. Without focus, even the best plans will fail. Without motivation, even the strongest ambitions will fade. But when you take control of your thoughts, you gain the power to overcome any obstacle. The truth is, nobody will hand you success or keep you motivated. That's your responsibility. But this isn't a burden, it's an opportunity. You have the ability to shape your life by shaping your mind. With every moment of focus and every act of determination, you move closer to your goals. The power is already within you. It's time to use it. 6. Consistency is king, the long game of success. Success is not a single moment. It's not a breakthrough, a lucky chance, or a stroke of genius. It's a result of showing up day after day, even when progress feels invisible. Yet, many people fail to embrace this reality. They dream of instant rewards, chasing quick fixes that never last. But without consistency, success is fleeting, and without persistence, potential is wasted. The common behavior is easy to spot. You start with excitement, a new goal, a fresh resolution. But as the days pass and the initial spark fades, so does your effort. You skip a day, then 2, thinking it won't matter. Slowly the habit dies, and the goal slips out of reach. People often justify this by saying, I'll get back to it later, or I just need a break. But later rarely comes, and breaks often turn into permanent stops. The consequences of inconsistency are undeniable. Dreams are abandoned, skills go undeveloped, and opportunities pass unnoticed. Worse, the lack of follow-through chips away at your confidence. Each time you quit, it becomes easier to quit again. Over time, you stop believing in your ability to see things through. The reality is that consistency, not intensity, is the foundation of success. Big efforts matter, but only when they're sustained. Small, steady actions build momentum, and over time, they lead to remarkable results. This is the essence of playing the long game, committing to the process, no matter how slow or unglamorous it seems. Stoic philosophy aligns perfectly with this principle. Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. The Stoics believed that progress is gradual and shaped by consistent effort over time. They saw life as a marathon, not a sprint, where steady persistence triumphs over short bursts of enthusiasm. I once knew someone who embodied this idea in a surprising way. He wanted to write a book, but felt overwhelmed by the sheer size of the task. At first, he thought he needed months of uninterrupted time to start. But life didn't give him that luxury. Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, he committed to writing just 200 words a day. It seemed insignificant, but he stuck with it. Some days were harder than others, but he showed up anyway. Weeks turned into months, and by the end of the year, he had a complete manuscript. It wasn't talent or inspiration that got him there, it was consistency. Now picture yourself in his position. Perhaps you have a goal that feels overwhelming, a fitness target, a career ambition, or a personal project. You might think the gap between where you are and where you want to be is too wide to cross. But what if you stopped focusing on the end result and started focusing on showing up every day? The Stoic approach to consistency is simple but powerful. Marcus Aurelius advised, do every act of your life as though it were the last. This doesn't mean rushing to complete everything at once. It means approaching each action with focus and intention, knowing that small efforts compound over time. To start, identify one small habit that supports your goal. If you want to get healthier, commit to a daily walk or drink more water. If you're building a business, dedicate 30 minutes a day to marketing or planning. The habit doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be consistent. Next, track your progress. Write down what you accomplish each day, no matter how small. This isn't about perfection. It's about building momentum. When you see your streak of effort grow, it reinforces your commitment and motivates you to keep going. Finally, prepare for setbacks. Consistency doesn't mean perfection, it means persistence. There will be days when you miss a step or face unexpected challenges. Instead of quitting, learn to adapt. Treat each setback as a temporary pause, not a reason to stop entirely. Consistency is a quiet force. It doesn't demand attention or immediate rewards, but its impact is undeniable. Every small effort adds up, and over time, the results become impossible to ignore. The world might not notice the work you're putting in right away, but that doesn't matter. Success is built in the shadows, during the moments when no one is watching. Your commitment to the process, your willingness to keep going, even when it's hard, will set you apart. When you embrace consistency, you take control of the long game. You stop chasing quick wins and start building lasting success. And as you move forward, step by step, you'll realize that the journey itself is the reward. 7. Outperforming the rest. Competition and purpose. Competition is everywhere. In your career, personal goals, and relationships, you're constantly measured against others. The instinct to compare yourself can feel overwhelming. It's easy to think, if I can't be the best, why bother trying? But this mindset misses the point of competition. True success isn't about defeating others. It's about refining yourself through purpose-driven effort. What often happens is this: people see competition as a threat. They feel intimidated by others' achievements or frustrated by their own perceived shortcomings. Instead of using competition as motivation, they shrink back, deciding it's safer not to try. Or they take the opposite approach, pushing themselves to unhealthy extremes, focusing solely on outperforming others at any cost. Both reactions lead to failure. The first traps you in inaction, where your potential goes unrealized. The second locks you into a cycle of chasing external validation, leaving you burned out and unfulfilled. Neither approach aligns with reality, because life isn't about being better than everyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. The truth is that healthy competition is a tool for growth. It challenges you to set higher standards, adapt, and innovate. But competition without purpose is hollow. When you tie your efforts to a meaningful goal, something that aligns with your values and passions, you create sustainable motivation. You're no longer just competing to win, you're competing to become the best version of yourself. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." To them, competition wasn't about envy or rivalry. It was about learning from others and using their achievements as inspiration. When you see competition this way, it becomes less about comparison and more about collaboration with yourself. A former colleague of mine experienced this firsthand. He worked in a high-pressure sales environment where everyone was ranked weekly based on performance. For years, he felt crushed by the constant comparison. Seeing others at the top of the leaderboard made him question whether he was good enough. But then he shifted his mindset. Instead of obsessing over others' numbers, he focused on his own. He set personal goals that aligned with his long-term ambitions, like improving client relationships and honing his communication skills. Over time, his results improved, not because he was trying to beat someone else, but because he was trying to grow. Eventually, he became one of the top performers in his company, not out of competition, but because he found a purpose within the process. Now imagine yourself in his position. Perhaps you felt discouraged by the achievements of those around you. Maybe you've wondered if you'll ever measure up. But what if you stopped comparing yourself to others and started measuring yourself against your own potential? Stoic philosophy offers practical steps for doing this. First, define your purpose. What are you working toward, and why does it matter to you? Without a clear goal, competition becomes directionless. When you know what you value, you can focus your energy on what truly matters. Second, embrace the idea of incremental progress. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be satisfied with even the smallest progress, and consider that no result is a small achievement." This mindset allows you to celebrate your own growth instead of fixating on how far ahead others might be. Third, surround yourself with people who inspire you. Healthy competition thrives in a supportive environment. When you associate with individuals who push you to improve, not out of rivalry, but out of mutual respect, you gain the strength to reach new heights. To put this into practice, think of a goal you're pursuing. Instead of looking at what others are doing, focus on your next step. Break the goal into smaller tasks and commit to consistent effort. Track your progress and reflect on how far you've come. Competition doesn't need to be a source of stress or self-doubt. When approached with purpose, it becomes a powerful motivator. It teaches you to aim higher, adapt to challenges, and value the process over the outcome. The truth is, nobody will hand you a victory. But the good news is, you don't need one handed to you. You have everything you need to compete, not with others, but with the person you were yesterday. When you embrace competition as a tool for growth, you stop seeing it as a threat and start using it as a resource. As you move forward, remember this: the only comparison that matters is the one you make with yourself. Compete with purpose, and you'll discover that the real victory lies in your ability to grow, adapt, and thrive. 8. The price of success: sacrifice and focus. Every achievement carries a cost. Whether it's time, energy, or comfort, success demands sacrifices that many are unwilling to make. People admire the results of hard work, but often avoid the process required to get there. This disconnect leads to frustration, as they wonder why their goals remain out of reach while holding tightly to habits or distractions that keep them stagnant. The usual behavior is rooted in wanting everything at once. You want success, but hesitate to let go of things that provide immediate gratification. You might think, "I'll work on my goals after this weekend," or "I deserve a break after a long day." While rest and balance are essential, these excuses often disguise avoidance. Instead of focusing, you scatter your time and energy across countless distractions. The consequences are clear. Without focus, progress stalls. You feel stuck, not because you lack potential, but because your priorities are divided. Sacrifices that seem small, like scrolling on social media or postponing work, compound into lost opportunities. Over time, these choices erode your confidence, as the gap between where you are and where you want to be widens. But here's the truth: success requires trade-offs. You can't have it all, and you don't need to. What you need is clarity. When you focus on what truly matters and are willing to let go of distractions, you gain the space and energy to pursue your goals wholeheartedly. Sacrifices aren't losses, they're investments in your future. Stoicism reinforces this mindset. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" This question serves as a guide, helping you separate what is essential from what is not. To the Stoics, discipline wasn't about deprivation. It was about aligning your actions with your purpose. I once knew a man who dreamed of starting his own business. For years, he talked about his vision, but never took action. He was constantly busy with other commitments, social events, hobbies, and endless distractions. He told himself, "I'll get to it when things settle down." But life never settled. One day, he decided to make a change. He identified the things in his life that weren't contributing to his goals and started saying no. He gave up his nightly habit of binge-watching TV, scaled back on social outings, and dedicated that time to building his business plan. It wasn't easy. He faced criticism and even doubt from those around him. But within a year, he launched his business. Today, it's thriving. His success didn't come from luck or shortcuts. It came from focus and sacrifice. By letting go of what didn't matter, he made space for what did. Now imagine yourself in his position. Think about your own goals. Are there habits, commitments, or distractions holding you back? What would happen if you focused your energy on what truly matters? The Stoics remind us that focus is a choice. Epictetus said, "He who is not enslaved to distractions is free." This freedom comes from understanding that you don't have to do everything. Instead, you must choose wisely. To apply this principle, start by auditing your time. Track how you spend each day and identify activities that don't align with your goals. Once you've identified the distractions, ask yourself, am I willing to let this go to achieve what I want? Next, create a system of priorities. Write down your top 3 goals and dedicate specific blocks of time to them. Treat these commitments as non-negotiable. The key is to be intentional with your focus. Finally, prepare for the discomfort of sacrifice. Letting go of distractions isn't easy. You might feel tempted to return to old habits or face criticism from others. But remember, Every sacrifice you make is a step closer to your vision. Success isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. When you focus on your priorities and let go of the unnecessary, you free yourself to pursue greatness. The world may not notice your sacrifices, but the results will speak for themselves. No one can make these choices for you. But that's the beauty of it. This is your journey, and the power to shape it is yours. The price of success is focus and sacrifice, but the reward is a life aligned with your purpose. So ask yourself, what am I willing to give up to become the person I want to be? When you answer that question honestly, you'll find that the sacrifices are worth it. Life doesn't owe you anything, and the sooner you embrace this truth, the stronger you become. The philosophy of nobody cares, get up and work harder is not about cruelty or isolation, it's about empowerment. It's a call to action to take responsibility for your life, to embrace discipline, and to focus on what truly matters. The lessons we've discussed today, self-reliance, ownership, consistency, and sacrifice, are not just abstract ideas. They are practical tools you can apply every day. Each time you face a challenge, remember that your power lies in your ability to respond, to take action, and to persist even when no one is watching. Stoic wisdom reminds us that the most profound strength comes from within. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This is your key to resilience. Whether it's overcoming procrastination, stepping out of your comfort zone, or staying focused on your purpose, you have the ability to shape your life through deliberate choices and unwavering commitment. Now it's your turn. Take these principles and integrate them into your daily routine. Start small. Set a clear goal for today and commit to taking one step toward it. With each day, you'll build momentum, confidence, and clarity. I encourage you to share your journey. What challenges are you overcoming? What sacrifices have you made to pursue your goals? Share your story in the comments below. Your experiences could inspire someone else to take their first step. This path is not easy, but it's worth it. Each effort, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you deserve. So get up, work harder, and remember, your strength lies in your persistence. Keep moving forward.